The First Crusade.
Part 2. Although Tancred used his cunning to take the city of Tarsus for the Christians, his victory was short-lived, and his cunning ways were no match for Baldwin and his much larger army, who marched right on into the city and told Tancred and the Normans to leave, then raised his own banners along the walls and took the city of Tarsus all for himself.
Hey, thanks for the castle. Now get the hell out of here. There is what, stupid Normans?
To make things even worse, about 300 Norman knights showed up at Tarsus later in the day, but Baldwin wouldn't let them in. Weary from marching, the Normans decided to camp outside the city's walls. But as they slept, those sneaky Saracen bastards snuck into their camp under the cover of darkness and slaughtered almost every single one of them.
You hear that? I hear something outside. I'm scared. Hold me, Vito.
Oh no, I'm not falling for that one again, Tonio. Now go to sleep.
Upon seeing the mangled corpses of the Norman Crusaders lying outside the city the next morning, Baldwin's angry troops blamed him for the senseless massacre and were ready to beat the crap out of him. So he ran away and hid in the castle tower until shit calmed down and he was able to convince and/or bribe his men to accept his innocence.
Why everyone's so mad? It was just a bunch of these stupid Normans.
After being kicked out of Tarsus, Tancred and his men moved to Mamistra and promptly took over that city using deceit. 2 days later, Baldwin and his army showed up, but Tancred wasn't going to lose another conquered city, so he locked all the entry gates to the city and prominently placed "No Baldwin Allowed" signs all along the castle's outer walls. Some of Tancred's men were cheesed off at Baldwin for his role in letting their Norman brethren get slaughtered outside Tarsus and got into it with the French soldiers. A few guys got killed and many others got injured, but the sight of Crusader on Crusader violence was too much, so Tancred and Baldwin buried the hatchet and called a truce to keep the peace.
I will kill you! Die, stupid Norman!
You is a stupid. My name isn't Norman. It's Fred.
Meanwhile, the main Crusader army, which was now down to like 35,000 people after all the fighting, starvation, and disease during their arduous trip across Anatolia, had reached the huge, well-fortified Seljuk-controlled city of Antioch by the end of October 1097, and began to pitch their tents and set up camp outside the city's formidable walls.
You sure looked a hell of a lot nicer in them brochures. You should have went down to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Tancred grew bored sitting around Mamistra, so he put a relative in charge and left to rejoin the main Crusader army over at Antioch, just as they decided to place the mighty city under siege. Thanks to finding food and supplies nearby, the Crusaders were now feeling pretty cocky and began to dig in for the long haul as they besieged the city of Antioch.
Fucking yeah, bros! We got the best god on our side! Dave's old motherfuckers!
But sitting around with nothing to do while besieging a city and feeding 35,000 or so hungry Crusaders every day makes supplies dwindle rather quickly, and the Crusaders were forced to go further and further away from their camp on foraging missions, just as the harsh winter season was setting in.
Really? McDonald's again? Yeah. Let's try Bojangles. Mix it up a little bit, guys.
During one of the foraging missions, Bohemond and Bob too were miles away from Antioch and had just finished stealing food and supplies from local villagers when a legion of Seljuk set upon them. The Crusaders fought with their customary bravado and were able to beat back the Turks, but they lost all the booty they had stolen and went home empty-handed.
Well,
We lost all our supplies, but at least we're still alive. Right, mate?
But the ruin of my fucking pizza pie. I wasn't looking forward to eating that.
On their next foraging mission, Bohemond sent Bob 2 ahead as a decoy, while he and his men hid in the woods. The Turks saw Bob 2's small contingent and fell for it, and began to chase them, when Bo and his knights came flying out of the woods at full speed and crashed through the Turk lines, killing them by the hundreds in a rout.
I say, Gov, why do I have to be the decoy again?
Because it's my plan. And you look like a real easy target too.
Meanwhile, Baldwin kept marching eastward and hooked up with fellow Christian Armenians, and, with their help, he took one town after another until reaching the big city of Edessa. The people of Edessa viewed Baldwin as their savior, and the city's leader, Thoros, adopted Baldwin as his own son.
And you Armenians sure get weird adoption rituals.
You should see the birthday parties that we throw.
Thoros, however, was not well liked by the people of Edessa, and soon after Baldwin's arrival, a plot of Baldwin's rose against him, and he and his wife were murdered in cold blood. And the townsfolk proclaimed Baldwin as the new Count of Edessa, and thus, in March of 1098, the first Crusader state, the County of Edessa, was established in the Levant. Back over in Antioch, the siege was going nowhere because the sprawling city was way too big to completely surround, and was open on the seaside, allowing the Turks to easily restock snacks and supplies. To make matters even worse, the Turks would sneak out of the city at night, kill a few Crusaders as they slept in their tents, then run back inside the city's walls.
So, is you going to be sharing those Pringles with us, Hassan? Or is you hugging them for yourself?
I tried reaching for the ones at the bottom, and now my hand is forced to be stuck in the canister.
After months of sitting around besieging Antioch during a particularly wet and harsh winter, the Crusaders' morale was dwindling quickly, and starvation was a major problem, as 1 in 7 pilgrims were dying from lack of food. And if you think it was bad for them, it was even worse for the horses.
Hey, look at this funny costume for Halloween. It's funny, right, guys?
Is you thinking what I'm thinking?
I'll go get the mustard.
Morale was so low that Crusaders began deserting by the hundreds, willing to risk being killed or captured rather than starve to death. And to make matters worse, everyone was fretting over a rumor going around the camp that a huge Seljuk relief force was being mobilized in Mosul and were coming to Antioch. Needless to say, if the Crusaders had any food to eat, they would have been shitting themselves.
How about we have the pizza party and the movie on Fridays?
And to watch a boring French films? Just to kill me now.
Things were so bad, even Peter the Hermit saw the utter hopelessness of their situation and tried to escape and get the fuck out of there. Bohemond wasn't going to let these chicken shits ruin the Crusaders' morale even more, so he sent Tancred and some Norman knights out after him. Peter and a bunch of other deserters got caught and were dragged back to Antioch, kicking and screaming.
Yeah, I gotta come back. I chuck around for change, you Norman cunt.
Yeah, me too. I was just looking for the ice machine, man.
Shut the fuck up and keep walking, you cuckoo bird.
Stefan of Blois, who was lagging behind to avoid combat, saw the Seljuks beginning to amass in preparation to attack the Crusaders still stuck outside Antioch. So he was like, "Oh mon dieu, that's a lot of invaders. Fuck this shit." So he called it quits, made a U-turn, and he and his fancy pants knights ran all the way back home, where he was relentlessly mocked for being a candy-ass, pussy-faced, coward bitch.
Mon Dieu, that's a lot of Turks. I could get killed. Oh well, when in doubt, chicken out.
As Stefan was running away, he bumped into Emperor Alexios, who was coming to aid the Crusaders and prevent them from laying claim to Antioch. Stefan told Alexios that all hope was lost, and if the dopey Crusaders weren't already dead from starvation or rampant disease, then the massive army of Turks he saw would soon be upon them and surely slaughter them all.
You left them all to die? So basically, you are just a big fat chicken, yes?
I may be a coward, but I am not afraid to run away when the going gets tough.
As Alexios and Stefan were meeting, the Byzantines that were assisting the Crusaders left the siege to tell him that they were sent by Bohemond to warn Alexios about a sinister plot by the Turks to lure him out of Constantinople and kill him. So Alexios was like, fuck this, and headed back home, leaving the Crusaders to their own destiny.
You know what? I forget to feed my cats. Let's go back home.
But the real reason Bo made up the whole plot against Alexios was to get rid of his Byzantine toadies, so he could proclaim that Alexios reneged on his promise to help and abandoned the Crusaders. So the oath of fealty they made to Alexios was null and void, and Antioch was up for grabs.
See? I'm telling you, the Greeks are a dirty, lying shitbag. I call a dibs on Antioch.
What? Wait, no way. He cannot do that.
Sorry, Raymond, but the code of the tips is legally binding.
The massive Seljuk relief force of about 40,000 soldiers, led by Mosul ruler Kaboga, was on the move to Antioch, but decided to stop along the way and put Edessa under siege, which was a blessing for the Crusaders because it delayed the Turks for about 3 weeks before they called it quits and resumed the march to Antioch.
This game would afford to be more fun if alcohol were not forbidden.
The siege would for to be more fun if alcohol were not forbidden.
Yeah.
Things were looking pretty bleak for the Crusaders, so Adama of Lepuy took charge and admonished them for being a bunch of filthy sinners and fornicators, and made them all recite 20 Hail Marys and go on a fast as penance, which was really smart because there wasn't any food left to eat anyhow.
You degenerate scumbags ruin everything. Now God hates us all. I hope you fuckers is happy now.
I told you that sex was a sin, but you never listened to me.
In my defense, I was very drunk at the time.
It's blood fuck. I see him drinking it like every night.
Sorry, I cannot help it. Crusader made me horny. And why are you watching me jerk it, haven't
Unbeknownst to the other Crusaders, while they sat around the campfire dreaming of food, Bohemond spent most nights walking around the walls of Antioch, loudly proclaiming that if anybody let him and his Norman pals inside the city, they would be rewarded with a big fat bag of gold and get a nice cushy government job after he took over the town.
I'm telling you for the last time, I'm not the George Clooney.
Are you sure? You look like that George Clooney I see in the movies.
Oh, leave the poor fellow alone, Martha. Now come on, let's go. We gotta get back on the tour bus.
On June 2nd, 1098, Bo was out on one of his nightly walks when a tower guard named Firuz told him he was having a beef with his commander, who was being a total dick and wouldn't let him take off on his birthday. So he would lower down a rope at midnight and let Bohemond in.
I not like my boss, so maybe I am joining your team instead. Do you have a pension plan?
Absolutely. Plus a dental benefits and a 3-week vacation too. Throw down at the rope and I'll have my HR person climb up and explain.
And lo, at the stroke of midnight, on June 3rd, 1098, the sellout Farouz tossed down a rope to Bohemond. From the tower he was guarded, allowing the Normans to climb up and make quick work of killing all the Seljuk guards who were on duty.
Come on already. Yeah, let's go. Hurry up.
I guess I shouldn't have the fried chicken for a dinner tonight.
Bohemond and the Normans then flung open one of the city's gates, and the entire horde of crazed Crusaders came rushing into Antioch and began killing everyone in a frenzy. Seljuks dead, Jews dead, Greeks, Syrians, and Armenians, even though they're Christians, dead. Nehemiah, dead.
Don't kill me. Kill the kids. They're all the spoiled brats.
After rampaging through the city all night, the sun rose upon Antioch and revealed the city awash in infidel blood and littered with thousands of hacked-off body parts and corpses. Except for a few hundred Seljuks holed up in the citadel, the Crusaders had slaughtered everyone, and the mighty city of Antioch was theirs, or more precisely, Bohemond's.
Welcome to my new home, fellas. Sorry about the mess.
Are you doing the group portrait? I am the leader. I should be in it as well. I demand the repent.
But what had the Crusaders really won? There was no food and very little supplies left after the city endured an 8-month siege, and all those dead bodies were starting to stink to high heaven under the hot summer sun. Oh, and just 2 days after conquering the city, Kaboga showed up from Mosul with like 40,000 pissed off Turks. Now the Crusaders were the ones under siege. The Turks made a few half-hearted attempts to attack the city's walls before deciding to pull back, set up camp, and play the waiting game, knowing full well that the Crusaders inside would soon be starving to death and ready to quit in exchange for a nice ham and cheese sandwich and some potato chips.
Jeez, look at this sugar contain. I cannot eat this crap.
And boy, oh boy, were those Turks right. Crusaders were dropping like mayflies due to starvation and rampant disease running through the city. Those that still had some strength left would try to desert by sneaking out and running away in the middle of the night. Death or captivity be damned. At best, the Crusader situation appeared to be hopeless.
I cannot believe you is making us eat the family dog die.
I just hope he tastes good because we spoiled him.
Since you look like you is gonna die, do you mind if I eat the last ring thing?
That's when a weird mystic named Peter Bartholomew, who was traveling with Raymond's team, approached the leaders and claimed to have visions of St. Andrew telling him the Holy Lance, the spearhead that pierced Christ's side, was buried along with a bunch of nudie magazines in the basement of the Church of St. Peter in Antioch.
Ooh, I'll show you the way to the Holy Lands, but you'll have to blow me later.
But I thought that ghost had Halloweenies.
With nearly all hope lost due to the rapidly deteriorating situation in Antioch, the Crusader leaders needed something to boost morale. So they followed the kooky cleric to the church basement and began digging and digging and digging some more. But instead of getting a sign from God, all they got was lots and lots and lots of dirt.
We're digging holes because some asshole had the holy vision.
I wholeheartedly agree with him. This whole endeavor seems to be wholly idiotic.
Peter Bartholomew then yelled, "Hey, look at the window! It's a baby dragon!" And as the Crusaders crowded around the window to look, Peter pulled a hunk of metal from his pocket and tossed it into the hole, and then jumped into the pit and proclaimed, "I found it, the Holy Lance, just like I told you."
See? I told you, but no! You stupid, godless heathens didn't believe me, did you?
Raymond believed it was truly a sign from God, while the other leaders thought it was just a rusty old hunk of metal. But to your average Joe Crusader, it was indeed a sign, and a great morale booster too. In spite of this, there was still the problem with the 40,000 angry Turks waiting outside.
Dear Holy Lance, please deliver me a bologna sandwich.
God may have been on their side, but after enduring 3 weeks under siege and months with little to eat, starvation would soon take them all. So the Crusader leaders decided it was time to shit or get off the pot and leave Antioch and attack the Saracens head on, even though they only had about 20,000 soldiers and 5 or 6 horses left.
We're gonna die here. Let's fight our way out or die trying.
Why can't we just order some pizza and stay inside until the infidels leave? Yeah.
On June 28, in the year of our Lord 1098, Bohemond formed the Hungry Crusaders into 6 divisions, led by him, Godfrey, Bob I and Hugh of Vermandois, Bob II, Adama of Lepuy, and Tancred. Raymond was sick, so he stayed behind to guard the citadel. And the Crusaders rushed out of Antioch at full speed and crashed right into the Saracens and began cutting them down by the thousands in the ensuing chaos.
Gobble, gobble! Happy Thanksgiving, stupid fucking turkey! Fuck!
You stupid! We is not for to be turkey no more. We is turkey!
Kaboga pulled his soldiers back in an effort to draw the Crusaders further away from the city to try and outflank them. But Bohemond saw what he was up to and quickly formed the 7th Division of Knights under Reynald III of Tulle. And they charged right into the lines of flanking Turks and completely destroyed the whole lot of them.
Ow! Damn it! And I just ran losing my gym membership too! Ah!
In a last-ditch effort to win the battle, Kaboga set great fires in front of his lines to protect them and cause chaos among the Franks. But the Crusaders, who claimed that the saints themselves were riding alongside them, crashed through the smoke and fire and decimated the Saracens.
Let's give the infidels what for! Single wing option on 3! Ready? Break! Hup, hup, hup!
It should be noted that the Turks' relief force was not one cohesive unit. Most of the fighters had allegiances to their own tribes and not Kaboga, and they had never fought against such a bunch of freaking maniacs like the Crusaders. So as the battle turned in the Crusaders' favor, they began deserting en masse and ran like hell back to their homes.
Hold on! You realize that certainly I cannot afford to be fitting all of you into my Subaru!
The Battle of Antioch was a complete rout, and the Crusaders, who suffered very few casualties, had wiped out almost 30,000 Saracens in the fight. The Turks, still holed up inside the citadel, realized the end was near and offered to surrender peacefully, but only to Bohemond, because it would be embarrassing to surrender to an old fart like Raymond.
We surrender, but not to Raymond. That would be very embarrassing. He's so old.
Yes, old.
Antioch belonged to the Crusaders, or more specifically to Bohemond, who declared himself prince of the city since he was the first inside. Needless to say, the other leaders were not too happy about being outmaneuvered by Bo and tried to convince him to stick to the original plan and resume the journey to Jerusalem. But he was like, nope, I'm good here.
Don't be mad. Maybe one day you get a nice city of your own too.
Raymond was furious and tried to convince the others to boot Bohemond out of Antioch and return the city to Alexios as promised. But they were like, fuck Alexios, he ain't done shit for us. Besides, the real problem that faced them wasn't Bo or Alexios, but it was food. As in, there wasn't any. And everyone was really hungry and getting super cranky. Well now, this is getting pretty crazy, huh? Thousands of violent, brutal, religious fanatics stomping through the Levant, parched and hungry on their way to kill infidels and retake the Holy Land in the name of Christianity. Honestly, what could possibly go wrong? Anyhow, hope you enjoyed part 2 of the First Crusade. Be sure to check out part 3 to see how this wacky episode of history pans out. All I can tell you is, hold on to your chainmail quaff.